Good afternoon, badass artists. I am Mia Luyando, and we are here on a new coloring adventure today. We are going to tackle some platinum blonde hair. I reached back and grabbed our Botany Bay book. It's been a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, since we did anything in this one, and I thought this is a good book for a blonde adventure today. So I went ahead and I already did her skin tone. This is an example. Sorry, I got tongue-tied for a second. This is an example of skin tone showing through a sheer fabric, and we're going to work on that some next week. But this is kind of an example where she has a sheer fabric over her and her shoulders are kind of peeking through, and you can also see a bit of her skin as the fabric moves on. So we will be working on that some coming up. But I used Colors of the World on this, and I love them. They're my favorite. I say that all the time. But I have since switched over to Faber Castell's for a different project. And when I got this request, I had actually just been talking about how skin tone pencils need to be, I like them to be realistic. I like them to be hard workers. I want them to be able to be used in other places other than just skin tones. And the Faber Castell, I have to say, is actually my favorite set for versatility in the pencils. And I'm about to show you why. They're incredible for a blonde hair. So we're going to be using Faber Castell skin tones today for this hair. Okay, I'm going to grab, you want to start with kind of creamy colors and sort of taupes and camel browns. Everything is sort of like a gray and a pale brown when you're dealing with blonde or platinum blonde colors. The trick is, and I know this is going to sound weird, to make the hair look really light, you have to be careful about the deepest colors you put in. That's what's going to make it look really dark. You can't have light without dark. You have to find a good balance, and once you get the hang of that, you can do this with any color. It doesn't have to just be blonde. It can be any color, purple, I don't care. So we're gonna start on that. We're gonna use this color number 801, and usually we use this on our super light portraits, but today we are gonna work this into her hair. And I'm just gonna kind of pull this down in these sort of medium shadowy parts. Yeah, I say it all the time. I want skin tone pencils that are not only believable as, you know, you don't want to pull a skin tone out that's just not believable. You know, it's like, when am I ever going to see this shade in flesh? And, you know, it's not believable. But, you know, I also want it to be, you know, kind of a busy bee. I want it to be a hard worker. I want to be able to use it in tree bark and pebbles and banks of rivers or whatever, you know, and having it work for a brunette or even like a, you know, like what we're doing right now, the undertones for dark blonde or even like blonde hair is important. So when I'm shopping for a skin tone set, you know, that's something that impresses me quickly. But then, you know, I kind of get weird about pencils. I'm very demanding. I'm demanding of the pencils. You guys know that. I'm just kind of working this color down. And remember, when we're working with this really dark grayscale, the lighter colors, and let me just find a spot that isn't quite, see how brightly that shows up. The darker the grayscale, the more your light colors are really gonna show up. So, you know, remember, we want this color worked through, but we don't want to really overdo it. We can always go back and add more in. And we've got our trusty Derwent eraser. You know, if we add too much, that's okay. But I'm always, with blonde hair, I'm always kind of like, I'd rather go in and add more later than have to take away, if you know what I mean. It's not hard, it's just finding that balance. And you want this subtle kind of creamy tone to be worked in, and you'll see as we go forward and lighten. And I think that's all I'm gonna put of that color in for right now. Now the next color I'm gonna pull is kind of a taupe. It is number 783. And I'm gonna work this in to her roots, but I'm not going overboard. I just want this to be subtle. We want to see it, but we don't want to see a lot of it. We just want it in these curves and shadowy places. Because, you know, even with hair, even with platinum, solid white hair, like Game of Thrones kind of hair, there are curls and there are places that the hair has no light source, you know, and so there's going to be shadows. And hair has so many different colors, even when there's, you know, it's hard to explain, but you're always going to get some kind of color in those shadowy parts. The lighter the hair, the paler they are, obviously. But see, you can already see that hint of color in there, and immediately you know it's blonde. Okay, now I'm going to get one that's got a bit more yellow. Just a touch, 785. I'm not going super yellow with it, but I do want that warmth to kind of work in. We're not doing a lot of yellow. We don't want it to be brassy, but we do want that kind of golden. We've got this golden like sunset color behind, or candlelight color, so there's obviously going to be some reflections of warmth, and this is really, really light. Now I'm going to get a really dark shadowy. Let's see if this is the one I want. I think this is the one I want. Number 804. And I'm going to pull this right from the deepest roots. And as soon as these darker colors go down beside, it makes these strands look so much lighter. It's kind of like that, you know, that wow, that pop. As soon as you get these And then you can add as many as you want. Just remember, the more of this you add, the quicker it can get away from you, and suddenly you have more of a dirty blonde or even a light brown. So, you know, just be careful as you're adding this in. And remember, you're just adding the deepest shadows here. Over here. And this is really, really light. Obviously, you can go back in and add more yellow or taupe or whatever color you feel like, you know, it needs a bit more of. And that's what I was saying in the beginning. It's so much easier to go in and add colors here and there that feel, you know, needed than it is to try and erase if you got a bit too much. And I think that because this is such a pale blonde, I'm not going to add a lot more. But you know, you guys at home know exactly what you want this to look like. You know, if you wanted to add like a really pale carrot, like an orange, you could have like a strawberry blonde. Or if you added like a really light like a burgundy color even, you would have a really odd like strawberry streak. There's a lot you can do with this. Your imagination is the limit. The sky's the limit, obviously. And I'm just kind of going in and touching here and there. I'm going to add a little bit more of that yellow up here where the candlelight is touching most. Now I'm going to grab another pencil. I'm going to get a pure white and really bring out some of these lightest strands. I keep forgetting to move the camera. I'm sorry, guys. Bear with me today. I've made quite a few videos today, and so it must be time to stop. Okay, this is pure white, and this is just out of the regular black edition set. I'm just going to go in, and you can see that white, how it just really shows up on this. I love how it shows up on the grayscale. It's one of my favorite things. When I was a kid, I never understood why the white crayon didn't work, and I always liked the idea when I got older that the white crayon was always going to work on the darker grayscale. I was always one of those people that worked from dark to light. It just made more sense to me. And you can see how easily this lays down, and you can see it. And you can add, like I said, as much or as little as you want. But there you go. That is super, super light. I would even call that platinum. What do you guys think? That is how you do a very, very pale, light platinum blonde. And I hope this was helpful. If it was, please give me a thumbs up in the description below. I don't know if the thumbs up is in the description below, but it helps other people find the channel, and hopefully we can all hang out and learn cool art techniques together. Okay, everybody, I will see you next time.